Because that's literally what the verse says. This has to be satire.
So earlier today, I made a post responding to Ahrazzafar in which I accused him of arguing in a circle, and he recently posted a response. Now, the majority of Ahrazzafar's response is him just ignoring my arguments and repeating himself, so I don't have much to comment on there. In fact, at this point, continuing to make videos would largely consist of me just showing clips and then saying I've already addressed that. So this will be my final video in this dialogue in which I want to make a few final remarks. So in my last video, I accused Ahrazzafar of arguing in a circle because in verses where the Quran affirms the Torah and Gospel, Ahrazzafar says, no, this is not referring to the books that they had with them by those names. It's referring to the original Torah, which was a message that was sent, and it wasn't a book, it was just a message. And he repeatedly says that the Quran defines the Torah and Gospel not as books, but as messages given in the past. But then when I point to a verse that shows Torah can be used to refer to a book and not merely a message, Ahrazzafar says, oh, but that's the Torah that's with them, that is written, not the original. And he makes a big dramatic deal in response to me calling out his hypocrisy by pointing out that it says with them in Surah 7:157, but that doesn't help him, and he has missed the issue here. So I want to spend just a few minutes trying to drill into Ahrazzafar's head how he is being consistent here and how he has completely missed the point. And if he still doesn't get it at that point, then there's just no reason to even bother trying anymore. Ahrazzafar, you made a big deal over how Surah 7:157 says that the Torah, that is with them. But dude, your entire argument has been that Torah does not refer to books that are with them. That is how this all got started. I pointed to a verse that affirms the Torah, and you said, nope, the Torah isn't what they have, it's some other thing. That's how we got started in this argument. Your rhetorical strategy has been that Torah is defined as a message, and therefore, when we see Muhammad telling Jews to follow the Torah, it can't be in reference to a book, because supposedly it's been defined as merely this message that was given to Moses. But then when we explicitly have a verse which refers to the Torah as a book, and it says they have it with them, in order to defend your weird definition of Torah, you say, oh, this is not referring to the Torah as a message. This is referring to a separate thing, which is the Torah that is with them. You are setting up two Torahs, the Torah and the Torah with them. If Muhammad says they should follow the Torah, and then later he says they should follow the Torah that is with them, it is asinine to suggest that these two sentences have different objects of reference just because one of them has with you after Torah. This isn't some separate term. This is just describing the fact that they have the Torah with them and that things are written in it, which refutes both your idea of the Torah never being used to refer to a book and your idea that they didn't have the Torah. And what's funny is you focus on the fact that with them is in the text in 7:157 to justify interpreting Torah as referring to a book that they had with them, but then you ignore and deny other sections which make it just as clear that Torah is referring to the text in front of them that bears that name. In Surah 5:43, it says they have the Torah containing Allah's judgment. If you're going to focus on with them in 7:157, how about you focus on Surah 5:43 saying they have the Torah and it contains Allah's judgment and they shouldn't be turning away from it. And then immediately after 43 in Surah 5, it then says in 44 that the Torah was revealed by Allah, and then he says those who don't judge by what Allah reveals are disbelievers. But supposedly, immediately after Muhammad says they have the Torah, and the very next verse, what is being referred to by Torah, it suddenly switches and becomes something else. In 568, the fact that he is telling them to stand on the Torah implies they had it with them. They can't stand on it if they don't have it. And it is nonsense for Muhammad to be repeatedly telling these guys that they have the Torah, which contains Allah's judgments, and that they will be punished if they don't use it, and implore them to stand on the Torah if at the very same time Muhammad thought that it was corrupt garbage filled with issues. The Quran says that the Quran affirms the Torah. It doesn't say it affirms part of the Torah or some of the Torah. It just says the Quran affirms the Torah. And it makes no sense whatsoever to say something like that if you think the Torah is filled with corruption. Your view requires us to think that Allah and Muhammad are the most incompetent public speakers in the history of the universe. So I'm done with this. There is nothing left to argue about here. If there was a verse in the Quran which explicitly said the physical text of the Torah possessed by the Jews during the time of Muhammad and the four Gospels possessed by the Christians sentence also in that time are the revealed word of Allah and is completely true in every sentence, I have no doubt that Ahrazzafar would concoct some new weird conceptual categories to deny the obvious meaning of that text. And I'm confident that anybody who has followed this debate so far with a shred of intellectual honesty will see how contrived, ad hoc, and inconsistent Ahrazzafar is being with these multiple Torahs that we just redefine whenever we get the opportunity to and however it fits us. And for any of you intellectually honest Muslims out there who actually want to follow what the Quran says, and you see past this lie of corrupt Christian scriptures, please feel free to DM me with your questions. I would love to share with you the message of Christ that I know our Lord wants you to hear.